Dan Blocker's final appearance on Bonanza remains one of the most powerful and emotionally overwhelming moments in classic television. For over a decade, Blocker brought to life the role of Eric Hoss Cartwright, the big-hearted middle son of the Cartwright family. With his gentle demeanor, strong moral compass, and natural charm, Hoss quickly became a symbol of kindness and loyalty. He wasn't just a character on a Western show, he was a friend to millions of viewers across America and beyond. Dan Blocker's unique ability to mix humor with genuine sincerity made him a standout on the show, and his presence anchored Bonanza in a way few actors ever could. When Blocker passed away unexpectedly in May 1972 at the age of just 43, following complications from gallbladder surgery, the news devastated fans, friends, and the entire cast. It was more than the loss of an actor, it was the loss of a beloved family member. His death came between the end of season 13 and the start of season 14, and it presented a challenge the producers had never faced before. Up until that point, Bonanza had avoided heavy on-screen tragedy, leaning instead on family bonds and moral lessons wrapped in frontier adventures. But with Dan Blocker gone, there was no way to carry on as usual. His absence could not be ignored, nor could it be filled. Rather than recast the role or write Hoss off with a vague explanation, the show's creators made the rare and respectful choice to acknowledge the loss directly, letting the silence and sorrow speak for itself. In the season 14 premiere, titled Forever, audiences were greeted with a somber tone from the very beginning. There was no light-hearted banter, no familiar warmth. Instead, the story centered on little Joe, played by Michael Landon, who was grappling with personal heartbreak symbolic of the larger grief all the characters, and actors, were feeling over the death of Hoss. Though Hoss's death was never shown or explained in detail, the emotional weight of his absence was undeniable. The silence surrounding his character spoke volumes. You could feel the real pain in the eyes of the cast, particularly in scenes with Lorne Greene, who played Ben Cartwright and had long seen Hoss as his character's most emotionally stable son. Dan Blocker's final recorded episodes, which aired before his passing, now carry a haunting emotional tone. Watching them, viewers can't help but be overwhelmed by the knowledge that they're seeing the last of a character and an actor who brought so much love and laughter into their homes. Hoss had always represented the moral heart of the Cartwright family. His strength wasn't in violence or dominance, but in empathy and fairness, often acting as the peacemaker among his brothers. Losing him didn't just change the show, it broke its foundation. The emotional depth that he brought could never be replicated, and his chemistry with the rest of the cast, particularly Michael Landon and Lorne Greene, was something uniquely special. Behind the scenes, the cast was truly grieving. Michael Landon, who was also a writer and director on the show, reportedly had a very hard time processing Blocker's death. The two were incredibly close, both on and off screen. Landon's performance in the episodes that followed reflected a genuine sorrow, not just in character but in real life. He later admitted in interviews that writing and filming Bonanza without Dan Blocker was one of the hardest experiences of his career. Lorne Greene echoed similar sentiments, saying that Blocker's death was like losing a son. The tight-knit cast, who had worked together for so many years, felt as if they had lost part of themselves. Fans, too, took the loss personally. Dan Blocker was more than an actor to them, he was a symbol of decency in a rapidly changing world. At a time when television was beginning to explore darker, more complex themes, Hoss Cartwright was a comforting presence, a reminder that goodness and honesty still mattered. His death marked the end of an era, not just for Bonanza, but for television itself. Ratings began to decline after season 14 started, and many believe the show never truly recovered from his loss. Without Hoss, Bonanza lacked its emotional center, and the chemistry that had carried it for over a decade began to fade. Even today, decades later, longtime fans find it difficult to watch Dan Blocker's final episodes without emotion. His legacy lives on through reruns, tributes, and the continued admiration of those who grew up watching the show. His portrayal of Hoss Cartwright is remembered as one of the most heartfelt and genuine performances in television history. Dan Blocker wasn't just playing a role, he was sharing a part of his soul, and that authenticity is what made him unforgettable. His final appearances on Bonanza are a reminder of how deeply an actor can connect with his audience and how painful it can be to say goodbye, not just to a character, but to a dear friend.